How's it going, everyone? If you will, from please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. So I'm here with another review for you. It's gonna be Tron Ares. That's right. I'm reviewing Tron Ares Disney film. Um, so this is directed by I say Yochim. Yochim. I know you don't say it like Joachim. I think it's Yochim Renning. I don't know who that is, but I do know the cast of this film. So this movie stars Jared Leto, Jeff Bridges, Aaron Peters, um, uh, Gillian Anderson, y'all, Agent Scully from the X Files is in here. Gillian Anderson, Greta Lee, and Jodie Turner Smith. So we got a nice little sizable cast in this movie. And now this is the third Tron film. So I have now officially seen all three Tron films. Uh, so, and I watched them all in a short amount of time. But so Tron is so this Tron film was a little interesting because I remember seeing the trailers back then before this movie came out, and people were already kind of shitting on this movie before it came out. Yeah, and they were definitely shitting on this movie hard because they saw Jared Leto in here and they were like, "Oh God, Jared Leto again, mess up another franchise." Um, and I will say one thing about Jared Leto. He hasn't really he hasn't really been like in the best films in my opinion. Um, I don't know. I've heard his persona backstage, how he's kind of a jerk. So I'm not a fan of him doing that at all. Um, like being such a method actor, like he would actually sit in a wheelchair and have cast members actually push him to the bathroom. Like that's fucking stupid. But like so he's in here and he plays a program called Ares, and the thing is you have Evan Peters and Gillian Anderson. So Evan Peters and Gillian Anderson. Gillian Anderson plays her character. She's the mother of Evan Peters. Evan Peters' character, and he's like Evan Peters' character is like this. He's like this company, this big um, what's the name of his company? I was trying to remember what his company's name was. Didn't have it listed, but so Evan Peters' character, he owns like this really big corporate company, and his company, what they can do is, whereas in the original you had a laser that could take objects and put them into the Tron system, whereas in here his company has it to where uh, they can take programs and stuff out of the grid and make them tangible, so they can actually bring them into real life. Um, Only downfall is whatever he brings to reality from the grid or from the program. It only lasts for 29 minutes. So whatever's in there will last for 29 minutes. And he's like, well, damn, I can't, I'm trying to, help, the government with, building themselves a military. I can't give them a military that don't last for 29 minutes. So there is, there's a code out there, um, that is a code out there to where if they find it, uh, it not only makes something tangible, but it makes it tangible permanently. He's after that. He's like, I gotta have that code. So you have Doctor. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on these characters' names. Um, yeah, Eva Kim. That's the character's name. Eva Kim, played by Greta Lee. And Eva Kim, she's she a tragedy happened to her, and you know she feels like she has to fulfill on that tragedy, and she's like, I have to find this code and fulfill my sister's wish, basically. So basically, what so it's basically a race to get this code. Will this code fall into the wrong hands? You know, uh, what will happen with this code? Will the wrong people get it? One thing I like about this movie, I will say, is the narrative. So, like, of course, I've reviewed the last two Tron films. Uh, and I will say, at least with this one, I enjoyed the plot more than the last two, because the plot to this one, is still it's a little ridiculous, but I think for the most part, this narrative works. It's executed very well, and it's very simple. It's very straightforward. There's not a whole bunch of jargon. There's not a whole bunch of ideas clashing with each other, and that's just kind of what I asked for out of a Tron film. If you're going to tell me a narrative, don't get super crazy with it. Just be, as long as you kind of give me um, rules and the way things work in this world, and they do that in here. Um, I like the whole fact of when they bring objects from the grid into real life, um, that it only lasts a certain amount of time. And I thought that was actually kind of cool. And the way they play with that. There's times where it's a little inconsistent, but I think for the most part that definitely works for this movie. This movie needed something, so I'm glad they actually thought of something at least. Um, Everybody's worried about Jared Leto in here. I was okay with him. I was fine with Jared Leto in here. And that's not saying, I didn't really care for him in Morbius. I mean, that movie was garbage anyway. Morbius was really bad. And I reviewed Morbius too. That was a terrible movie. Um, the Suicide Squad is Joker. He was terrible in that too. So and I don't really think they gave his Joker much to do in that. So no, him being a main character in here, he didn't bother me as Ares, and I really thought he brought like a heroic kind of edge to him and stuff like that as well. I know people dogged Jared Leto before the movie came out, but I mean, watching this movie, I was like, he was good in this. He wasn't bad. Um, you have Jeff Bridges does make a short appearance in here, and that whole the CG that they do on that, yeah, I'm not gonna ruin that if you ever watch Tron Ares, but I actually do like it. Was kind of like a nice little throwback to the first Tron movie. Um, this is so these are like runners or people on light cycles and stuff like that. This is like Tron if it was brought into our actual world, and I actually did like how they did that as well too. Evan Peters plays the villain in here. He plays the villain a lot, so he's definitely the villain in here. He's kind of this obsessed, he plays the obsessed kind of corporate asshole, and I feel like he didn't have a whole lot of depth to his character. If I'm going to complain about the characters, he was just he just played the obsessed corporate kind of asshole, really. Like I said, in Gillian Anderson, Agent Scully, she that's what I was calling her. She's not Agent Scully in here, but I usually call it every time I see her now, because I used to watch the X Files faithfully when I was a kid. But she plays his mom in here, and I just felt like the dynamic between those two. It just felt it kind of felt formulaic a little bit. There wasn't much to that to their dynamic, and I just didn't really. I wasn't really huge on it, but it didn't bother me to the point to where like I was like, "Oh, this is horrible," you know. But Greta Lee in here, who plays Eva Lynn. Um, I thought she was or Ava Lee. I think it's Eva Lee. She was fine in here too. Um, she played the kind of the grieving sister basically. And she's the owner of the company. I say the the, the personalities to me, the character development here, it wasn't like the strongest point of this movie. If I had a complaint, the character development wasn't really all that. Um, like I said, they make they kind of make some cameo appearances in here too. Like I said, Jeff Bridges shows up in here again. And that scene again was cool. I thought the graphics were good. I mean, it's a Tron film. You know, Disney's going to spend money on a Tron film to make the technology look really good and up to date. But I like how they um oh sorry, I'm doing this late again, y'all. It's like after midnight. But yeah, I really liked how I really like how they kind of dug back to the old Tron films for a certain scene. And if you watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. Uh, and this does a lot more with like AI. This is more like with like them creating like AI with AI technology. And I thought it was really cool. Like I said, I liked the I was about to say the AI. I like the CGI in here. The CGI is really good, but again, like I said, it's a Tron film, so you're gonna get a lot of the CG in here. Um, but overall, uh, I thought, like I said, there was moments where I thought the story was a little ridiculous, but I mean, it wasn't as crazy and as all over the place as the first two films. Um, this actually kind of told, I think, a little bit more of a straightforward plot, and they do leave it off like they're going to make another sequel to Tron. So like if they go for a Tron 4, I think this is kind of the format they need to try to stick with and maybe tweak it some to make it work more. But but like I said, this is my favorite Tron film. I'm going to give this a solid recommend. Um, this is definitely a solid recommend for me. Uh, like I said, I thought the cast was good. Even though, like I said, the character development wasn't the best. It was a little straightforward for me, and I guess some of the plot points were a little ridiculous. But I think maybe like a good 75-80% of this film was actually pretty good and it was pretty engaging. Like I said, the CG is amazing. I like the way they made the grid looked. Uh, Even the special effects, and then I like how they mix like they kind of interwove like real life with the grid, and they kind of jump back and forth between that. So I just haven't seen the other movies do that. Usually, the movies kind of start out in the real world. The first two did, and then the rest of the movies take place in the grid, where this kind of jumps back and forth, uh, which I thought was really cool too. And again, I didn't have a problem with Jared Leto. I know people go like, Jared Leto, oh my god, ugh. But yeah, this is a solid recommend for Tron Ares. So that's my review for Tron Ares. Solid recommend. What did you think about this movie? Are you against my opinion? Yeah, so I'm sorry, I did enjoy this one. I think this is probably my favorite Tron film out of all three of them. So if you will for me, please go to the comment section, tell me what you thought about the movie, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.